Good day once again. Yeah, welcome to part 2, Halloween, what about it? Part 1, we left off at the introduction of the subject, all right? And we saw what festivals actually mean. And we saw the origin of this, how someone has been judged by God. And he was judged and kept in the grave, in the pit. So he resides in the region of death, all right? D-E-A-T-H is death, according to God's judgment. But we see that how festivals are ways for portals to be opened. We see masquerades, people come in costumes, people are dressing like the spirit who is from the other side, all right? And we see that festivals are not just celebrated by people. Festivals are celebrated by people and visitors from the other side. These visitors now being spirits, all right? So we saw how that we left off at that in part 1. Okay, I want us to understand that while Israel was in Egypt for 400 years, the Lord spoke and said he would deliver them by a mighty hand. Genesis chapter 15 from verse 13 on down. And he delivered them truly by the hand of Moses. When he brought them out of Egypt, he began to give them his own festivals. He began to give them his own feasts. He called it feasts, all right? Most of the feasts, virtually all of them, were to be kept for 7 days. These feasts of the Lord were to replace the ones they have learned and were used to when they were back in Egypt for 100 years. So we had the Feast of Atonement, the Feast of Weeks, the Feast of Ingathering, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, all right? Like that. The Lord did all this so that they would get used to him. What they were taught in Egypt was a copycat. Remember in Isaiah 14 where we read in part 1, that Satan said, I will be like what? The Most High. So if the Most High has his own feast, Satan wants to copy God to deceive people. All right. Now, in part 2 today, we're going to carry on from where we stopped. Okay. Now, when Halloween itself, what is the origin of it? Many years ago, very many years ago, a Catholic Pope called Pope Gregory III, all right, he came up with a calendar because the Roman Catholic Church was in charge of Christian holidays. They print out the calendars and the dates for the full year before the year runs its course. So each saint who had died, St. Augustine, St. Francis, St. this, St. that, they gave them each name for a year, all right? But the saints who had died, or the people whom they called saints, were more than 365. So their names surpassed the 365 days of the calendar year. So for them to find a way to incorporate a day to celebrate all of them at once, we had what they call All Saints Day. Because a saint is holy, the Catholics used to describe saints as someone that is holy. So they put a light over their head called a halo, showing that this person is a saint. So they had a day, they called it All Saints Day. All right? All Saints Day, October 31st. All Saints Day. Because the word saint means someone that is holy, because saint comes from the word sanctified, they now began to call it All Holy Day or All Hallows Day. Hallow means holy. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. That is, holy be thy name. So we now had what they call All Saints Day, became what they call All Hallows Day. All right. The day before that day is called All Hallows Eve. So the word Hallows Eve comes from the word Halloween. E-V-E, Eve, came from the word E-E-N. So Halloween is an Old English version of the word Hallows Eve. We get it now? So a day was set aside to celebrate all saints. That is how the origin of Halloween came to be. But again, look at it carefully. Look at it very carefully. Look at it very carefully. Halloween comes on the 31st of October. According to the scriptures, in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, Satan is revealed there as a beast. In the realms of the spirit, 13 represents rebellion. 13 represents the number of Satan. So we have things like Friday the 13th. God deals with 12. 12 tribes of Israel, 12 disciples, 12 stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel, so on and so forth. Jacob had 12 sons. But Satan, in trying to fall out of God's foundation, he added an extra to it, making it 13. So spiritually, 13 is the number of rebellion. So that 13 was reversed to make it look like 31. So October 31 is what they call Halloween Day, which is All Hallows Eve. But my friends, as many who are under the sound of my voice, when you are celebrating a saint, when you are celebrating someone who has died, on the eve of the celebration and on the day of the celebration, you would commemorate the works of that saint. You will bring out things that are in cognizance with that person's life. Say, for example, I'm celebrating a great basketballer, all right, who has passed on, who was dead. On the day of celebration, I would bring out his video clips. I would dress like him. I would play basketball that day. I would organize some basketball matches in honor of the person whom I claim to be commemorating at this festival. So if you say you are celebrating saints, we should see holy works of righteousness being celebrated on Halloween Day. But what do we see on Halloween Day? Is faces of ghosts, goblins, ghouls, gorgons, and gargoyles. Demons take expression. That will not be a saint. So what is happening here? Satan is deceiving somebody. I will go now to Romans chapter 1. Let's see what Paul said on this matter. Romans chapter 1. All right. Romans chapter 1, verse... okay. Verse 18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against what? All ungodliness, no holds barred, against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in what? Unrighteousness. They claim they're coming to commemorate saints, but we're seeing demons on stage. We're seeing devils come up on stage. We're seeing people dressed like Satan. So they hold the truth of God in unrighteousness. All right. Verse 19, Romans 1:19. He said, because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God had showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. So we understand these things. We shouldn't claim that we don't understand. Even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without what? Excuse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations. Vanity took hold in their minds, and their foolish heart was what? Darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became what? Fools. And changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness. We would like to stop there. So we saw what happened here. They turned the truth of God into what? Into a lie. That was what happened. And this is a great deception. Halloween is claimed to be All Saints Eve. All Saints Eve. But actually, it is demons that have been celebrated. I will stop here and we'll continue in part 3. God bless you. Thanks for listening.